1 metric ton of juicy news coming up right here, right now. Welcome! You're watching Rom, the channel sharing the joy of sim racing and our regular news roundup, our weekly sim racing news. Thanks to all those who come here often, especially those who subscribe, and even more, our patrons. My name is Serta and I will be your host for this video. Today is once again one of those videos chock full of information. Of course, divided into chapters, we have a lot of juicy news for you. Interesting news from Kunos, not so good news from Motorsport games, of course, fat news from Reza, and a lot more than those. On Thursday, our podcast will drop on YouTube and all of your favorite podcast places. And remember, we are racing for Dean on the 20th of April in less than 2 weeks. And you can still join the race as we have place for about 80 teams. And while we already have over 50 teams, the more, the merrier. Let's kick cancer in the nuts. I love the smell of quarterly reports in the morning. Motorsport games have released theirs and they don't paint a positive picture. They themselves say, sadly, we expect to continue to incur losses for the foreseeable future. Accordingly, our financial condition raises substantial doubt regarding our ability to continue as a going concern. And they clearly state, we will require additional capital to meet our financial obligations, and this capital might not be available on acceptable terms or at all. Furthermore, they explain there are $87 million in the red and are burning through $1.1 million per month. No wonder their chief financial officer resigned at the beginning of November. They made a third less money in 2023 than in 2022. On the other hand, they halved their operative expenses by, as we already told you, getting rid of 40% of their staff. Their cash as of March 29th amounts to 1.3 million USD, having incurred a total loss in 2023 of almost 14 million USD, which is better than their losses in 2022, which amounted to almost 36 million USD. The tiny silver lining on the horizon is that Motorsport Games sold 55,000 copies of Le Mans Ultimate in the first 10 days, which amounts to about $1 million USD grossed after the cut Steam takes. Now, they would need this amount of sales every month on average to keep afloat, and somehow we don't see that happening. Do you? Well, here we go. Second patch of the iRacing 24-2 season dropped, and it seems there's still a couple of big bugs in there the team are still munching through. They've solved the bug where wind speed values were always shown in international standard, that's kilometers per hour, no matter what the user had chosen. To me, that's a feature, not a bug, but okay. The hosted races table now caches selected filters, sorts, and page numbers so you can return to the exact place you were when you left the table. Same with the spectate hosted races table. Also, many small and bigger bugs regarding rain have been fixed, like spray effects or windshield wipers. AI drivers have learned the driving characteristics of the Ford GT GT3 and the McLaren MP4 12C GT3 in the rain and know better when to put on rain tires on any car. And if you join a server where it's raining but your graphic settings are not high enough to display the rain, you'll get a warning message. A couple of developments also made the support for C-Magic pedals and Simocube bases better. Some graphic corrections have been done to the cars or their drivers, other cars are now rain ready, and graphics and bugs were corrected for some assorted tracks. A link to the patch note is as always in the description of this video. Kunos have kept busy. On Monday, the Nürburgring 24-hour pack DLC for Assetto Corsa Competizione dropped as planned, and is that a Mustang livery clever users have found in the graphic data of the sim? They also updated it a little bit, with Alpine Esports liveries improving the way the AI reacts to blue flags, tweaking the GT2 bop, and improving the damper simulation. And the AI will use the normal Nürburgring track on the outlap before they go into the Nordschleife, what is called the Joker lap, nothing to do with Batman. And keeping with Kunos, Assetto Corsa 2 will be called Assetto Corsa Evo. They were tired of people not being able to say competizione. That's why they didn't go with evoluzione, I suppose. Benchspot did a quick update to 1.8.2, improving the tire model of the Porsche 911 GT3 Cup, enhancing the advertisement management for the community track branding, and allowing you to automatically repair visual damage when you go to pits. Fanatec dropped a lightweight, light prize rig, the CSL cockpit. While they have a DD base attached to it in the marketing photos and they say it can withstand up to 25 Nm torque, I'm not really sure that's such a good idea, but I may be wrong here. For a price of €400 USD, you can't expect the world anyway. Mind you, the price is without a seat, and if I were you, I'd buy a much better seat than the one shown in the pictures. SnowRunner not only dropped the Atom DLC as we said last week, they also updated the game, fixing a lot of bugs in North Carolina and diverse bugs on different vehicles. Also, the Burlock now has new winch and crane attachment points. Some issues in co-op got corrected, and the Logitech G29 should work now again with no issues. The developers of Le Mans Ultimate had to undo a fix they had done regarding force feedback and alt tabbing, as it seemed to leave some people completely without force feedback. Monza are not known for big marketing activities, but they seem to have changed their tune as they are now partnering with Volkswagen. I mean Audi, I mean Lamborghini, same difference, as Monza are sponsoring Lamborghini's esports teams from now on. Waddling through the typical marketing bullshit of the press release, we learn Monza will deliver Simracing setups to the esports teams and assistance during esports competitions. No further information about financials or anything else was given. EA Sports trademark WRC is going VR. On the update that is expected to drop end of April, you will be able to use your VR goggles to drive in WRC, making it VRC, I guess? Interestingly enough, Codemasters have implemented VR using OpenXR, an open source, free as in beer and free as in freedom standard for VR. I mean, it's not surprising as the major VR companies have made their systems compatible with OpenXR anyway. Now, don't get too excited. You may have to have a big GPU to be able to enjoy WRC's VR, as the sim already taxes your graphics heavily even without VR. Also, EA are going to start their first esports championship on WRC soon, and Season 4 is also going to start soon, which may very well be the 9th of April in 2 days. Also, that's about as much time as you have to complete any goals of Season 3, which will close when Season 4 drops. One of the many little tricks some of the gaming companies use to force you to play at their pace. New Season 4 moments will drop, with the Season 3 moments moving to the archive, but being able to be replayed anytime. You will be able to take the Porsche 911 SCRS to hopefully victory at the Rally Kenya, drive the Rally Monte Carlo in WRC2 to win with about 4 seconds distance, drive the last car standing in Greece 1983, win in Finland, or be able to finish a stage in your BMW M3 Evo in Japan with a damaged rear axle. Rain effects have been improved, as well as dust and snow kick-up being shown in replays now. Also, a lot of performance optimizations have been made all over the set. sim. Crowd and spectator audio have been corrected, as well as the engine audio matching the vehicle's RPM now. Different exploitable bugs and reset zone bugs have been corrected in Central Europe, Japan, Mexico, Mediterranean and Oceania. These and all other details you can see following the link in a description. The numbers are stable for most of Simracing, with a slight tendency upwards for most titles. Of course, the evergreens Assetto Corsa and BeamNG had a slight increase in numbers, but even Race Room did. What surprised us is the low increase of Assetto Corsa Competizione. 1 week after the release of the Nordschleife, we expected the numbers to grow much bigger than in February, but somehow they did not. On the other hand, it's the best average number Assetto Corsa Competizione has ever had, so they did soar, just not compared to February. Of the sims dropping in numbers, the worst fall is that of Le Mans Ultimate, which drops by more than 50%, down to 624 daily average users, still higher than its cousin R Factor 2 or its contender for endurance Automobilista 2, which last month dropped again from its all-time Le Mans high, to still respectable numbers compared to older Automobilista 2 numbers for sure. And EA Sports trademark WRC is now about half of the numbers the month it came out, which were its highest ever, and way below the numbers of the other Codemasters Rally Sim, which is now 5 years old. That must hurt. Hey Codemaster developers, Reza is hiring, just saying. Automobilista 2 is now at version... oh bother. 1.5.6.1, which is not yet the big one with the big changes, but still, it is a big one. Or as Reza would put it, a standard drop, because they regularly release these big things. Anyway, the update brings the Brazilian stock car 2024, which are slightly faster because of new tires and a slightly bigger rear wing, but as much fun as older versions. If you enjoyed the other years, you'll enjoy 2024. Also, the F Ultimate Gen 2 was completely overhauled, for which they apologized to livery makers who had done great things in the past, as they will have to redo their excellent work all over again. Keeping with Formula open wheelers, Reza have revised the force feedback for what looks like all of them, as well as doing some adjustments on the differential for many of them, and they have adjusted the repair times for any repairable part of the cars overall. AI drivers will analyze motor failures and decide if retiring is the better option rather than repairing and rejoining. The Stock Car Pro Series 2023 AI driver performance has been adjusted to the real live results. A lot of tracks got 3D trees as well as water shaders. Ibarra has been corrected to bring it more in line with reality. Cascavel and Curitiba also saw some heavy adjustments. Most of the tracks now have VR cameras, and a small group of tracks saw assorted bug fixes. Most pit crews now wear outfits matching the teams they are working for and the time period they are working in, and some of the cars got slight graphic or physics corrections. While this sounds small, if you check the complete list through the link in the description, you'll see almost no part of the sim was left untouched, and we expect there are many code changes done in preparation to 1.6 which don't get mentioned in the update notes because they are deep down in the code.